You are a penguin. That is so cool.
Waddle, waddle.
Waddle, waddle. Waddle, waddle. Waddle, waddle.
Like a swing, like a monkey. Swing.
Swing like a monkey. Swing. Hey everyone, I wanted to give you an opportunity to decide if you want to continue watching. So here is the end result of this before we even get started. Also a little disclaimer that this video is a lot longer than my usual and it is pretty chatty, even rambly at some points. So grab a coffee, maybe work on some of your own art or do some chores while you listen and watch. Yeah, I hope you enjoy. Hello art lovers, welcome or welcome back to another art video. It's been quite a while since you guys have seen inside my studio, and it's been even longer since I've been on screen. I don't know how much of this video will be showing me on screen or me doing a voiceover, but we're gonna give it a try. I missed all the toddler nonsense, and I'm hoping that you can't hear the TV in the background, but you probably can. Who knows if I'll get a copyright strike from that. I'm working on a new project that is going to be another mixed media piece on wood. If you've seen me working on, I don't know, this last mixed media piece on my Instagram page, it's not done and I'm not going to finish it until probably May. Yeah. I kind of got irritated with that one because it was primarily acrylic, and I don't know, I felt like the acrylic was fighting me. And then I started editing like time-lapse video for it, and I kept falling asleep while doing it. I don't know, I was probably overtired. So now I'm working on something new, as is typical. And I will get back to that eventually. But you've probably seen clips of this. I got a new Dremel Moto saw. It's pretty awesome. I love it. I was a little bit scared when I was cutting with it for the first time. I was cutting this big, like 3/4 piece of, I don't know what this is, some very thick and hefty wood. And while it definitely cut through it, I mean, obviously, it was slower than I would like. And I was worried I was gonna break the blade. So I decided to do the project in something thinner, which is this 1/4 inch poplar for some of the pieces, and I used oak for some pieces. Primarily just her face is in oak. I wanted a lot of really pretty wood grain and texture. The plan is to use mostly acrylic ink, so that way it's transparent and you can still see the wood grain underneath this, but in areas where I need to layer up to hide things, I can do that, and hopefully it won't be too much of an issue. Yeah, so that's what we're working on now. I'm rambling only because I don't really know how this project is going to go or what's going to happen. It's all a surprise. This is a new technique, I guess, with the cutting of the wood. But yeah, should be fun. Every experience is a fun one when it's a new one. I feel like I've kind of gotten bored on the whole situation with AI art. I worry that just watercolor on paper, in my style anyway, isn't advanced enough to not just be duplicated with AI art. So I wanted to branch out in something more tactile and semi 3D, and again, if you've been following me on Instagram, I've been showing pictures of things that I've done in the past. It's a really big piece, and this past piece that I did with called Labyrinth was also 2.5D. It was much smaller than my first attempt. But yeah, I'm enjoying kind of going in that route, so we're gonna see where this takes us, and yeah, just keep following inspiration. I hope you guys are all doing well. If I don't cut back in again, I just want to say thanks you. Yep. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you if you've come back to my videos for coming back, because I've been gone for so long. Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to suggest that I might do them more regularly, because I might not. Editing video is freaking hard. Yeah, I don't know. I will try, and again, if inspiration strikes, then that's what will happen. That's kind of what happened with this one. I felt like being pretty today, so I made myself pretty, and then I was like, hey, might be a good day to shoot a video. I don't know, you know? But again, thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye! Okay, so this little color palette was essentially the main inspiration for this piece. Poppies are traditionally this really vibrant red with darker centers, and I really like the idea of this deep midnight blue with like neon vibrant centers instead. I wanted to have the milk of the poppy, which is traditionally used to make opium, kind of this dark poison seeping from the stems. So the character evolved into kind of this like death deity or demigod that would appear to you in your dreams, shrouded in smoke amongst a field of these blue and pink poppies. She's not necessarily evil or malevolent, but like most death deities, if you see her in your dreams, you should be prepared to meet your eternal rest. Like I said, this was a situation where I was sketching and I was picking colors at random and then just kind of seeing what comes to mind with the colors. And this was one of those situations where the longer I played with the colors, the concept kind of came pretty vividly to the forefront of my mind. So the next step in this process is to transfer the refined lines to the wood and cut out all the different shapes. In all of the research that I found, this is kind of the best way. You want to protect the wood with painter's tape and then glue your images down so they don't shift around while you're cutting. And then seal that again with packing tape. And this keeps everything in place. You end up with a nice tidy little sandwich that you can peel off of the wood when you're ready. Okay guys, so I am getting started with my moto saw. Today, just gonna do some rough cuts. I'm going to try and get in on some of these pieces. So for areas like the hair, I'm gonna be doing the hair in like chunks, right? So that I can create some separation and a little bit of depth with some sanding. But the colored areas are the parts that I'm keeping, and any of the white areas are the part that I'm getting rid of. And the reason why I have these ones is because I have this big piece, which is most of the full hair, but I had to cut this off because, as you can see, like the width of the board would have meant like I needed a wider board, but I had 8-inch boards or like 7 1/4-inch boards, so I had to cut off a portion, so I reprinted it out on this smaller piece so that I can do these other little sections that were gonna get cut off. And also this is like one really long piece, so I anticipate having to like cut this whole thing out and I'm going to end up losing somewhere. So I have this piece. I'm going to try to maintain any large areas of cutout space just in case I need to like recut a curl or glue some stuff together. So yeah, I have this one where I have a little bit more wiggle room where I can cut into the white and try and capture some of these lines. But before I like cut on this line, I'm going to try cutting this line nice and straight. Just, you know, practice, gotta practice before I do the sharpest cuts. I'll also probably cut along this white area just to make sure that I can control my movements a little bit better. So I'm gonna put on some gloves. also going to I'm going to run the machine real quick with just the machine, and then I'm going to run the machine with the shop vac that I got so you can get an idea real quickly of the sound and how loud it gets. So I'll probably be jumping into some background music not too long after that, just because I don't know if anyone wants to actually hear the buzzing of this lovely baby. Along with that, probably not super necessary because I have the shop vac sucking all the major dust out, but it is always good to have a respirator to protect your lungs. I have asthma, so I can be a little bit more sensitive than others maybe to like this minimal dust that will be showing up. So yeah, I got this on Amazon. I don't remember what the brand is or anything. I had to tie a little ribbon around it for the top of my head because my ears are apparently too small for these loopies. They like don't do anything. I didn't realize there were different sizes for these, so I just got whatever and realized it was like kind of too big for my face. I should have got a different size, but I don't, if I'm shopping online, I don't do like returns. So I'm just gonna put this mask on real quick. Oh, let me see how this goes on. It's kind of silly. Attaching the hose attachment for the shop vac. Just a quick little aside right here. The whole reason for the shop vac is because I had initially intended on doing a lot of this cutting outside, but it was, of course, 110 degrees outside in fall in Phoenix, so I opted for not dying of heat stroke, working inside with the added assistance of a shop vac to reduce the dust. Now we're gonna get a little loud. Just a little sample of what you're gonna hear, but what you want to do is get that out of the way. Press your foot down to your wood, kind of the way you would a sewing machine. Just make sure you've got good glide, it's not too stuck. Move my chair back some. Okay. The audio got a little bit garbled here, but essentially the headphones that I have are noise canceling, so I use them to kind of protect my ears from the loudness of the saw combined with the shop vac. I don't know if this is strictly necessary, but it does make me more comfortable. You'll see the difference of it with the shop vac and without the shop vac. Voiceover Lambda jumping in here because obviously you can see this is loud and annoying, and also because I had my camera attached to the table that I'm working on with the saw, there is so much wobble here, so I kind of had to reset my setup so that way you wouldn't get this nauseating bounce every time I did a video. And it really was just a quick fix of me attaching it to the utility cart that I have next to my desk. But yeah, you can see it's a pretty versatile tool. You can get some nice tight corners done. It works kind of like a sewing machine. You can just feed it through. It doesn't pull too much at the wood as long as you're not inside one of those really tight corners. It's pretty easy to control. You'll see here in a second that it starts creating a lot more dust, and that's because I don't know if there was a manufacturer issue with the shop vac that I got, but it just kept dying out on me. So I actually had to take that shop vac back to Home Depot and get a different one because it would stop after like 30 minutes of me cutting and start creating all this dust. Okay, so next I'm using kind of a printout of the face to check my cuts and make sure that I have all of my pieces, and I was pleasantly surprised that I was able to keep track of all of these pieces and get them all cut out fairly easily. You'll see later on coming up that I actually use the illustration as kind of a map, and I number and letter all the backs of the pieces to make sure I don't lose them. But I did have a problem where the face did not want to actually fit into the hair, and I had to like force them together, but then I couldn't get them apart. So they were like stuck like that, and I hadn't shaped them or refined them in any way. So I was frustrated and had to kind of put it down and work on a different aspect of this for a little while. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go back to time lapse soon, but I know this looks ridiculous. Like, why am I showing my AirPods case? Super old, and it broke almost immediately. This is actually where I keep my Dremel tools, and now the new little sanding block that I got, because I apparently lost the box. Oh, and also the Dremel's not even in here. The Dremel's on my desk, but that's not the important part for right now. What I am using is this little sanding block. It's like 1 inch, but it's perfect for doing little tight sanding areas, like all these pieces that are small I'm going to show you. And it comes with 3 grits. I believe it was 80, 120, and maybe a 240. Oh, a 220. So I'm going to use these to sand down all the different pieces. I'm going to take these out so I can keep the rest in the box and not mess them up. Where is the one? This one. Oh, I cut this out because I was decided to recut the face, and I cut too much off of it, so I had to recut it out or reprint it out, and Omar decided he wanted to color it, so that's how far he got. So yeah, I'm gonna be sanding these down and like shaping them. I already did a lot of the tiny pieces, starting with the Dremel just to see, but I honestly don't think I need it. Like, these are all the scraps of paper. I think I might overdo this with just the sanding block, and the reason why I'm trying this, it is something like 9 o'clock, and my child is actually asleep and does not require my presence for the first time in a while to sleep. So I'm going to give some of this sanding a try. Okay, so the whole point of doing some of this hand sanding was to keep things a little quieter while the boy was asleep, but also because this little hand sander has different grits, it gave me a finer finish on the pieces. The Dremel tool, it leaves the edges still really rough, and this little hand tool smoothed everything out really nicely. Because they're so much finer than the Dremel tool, it was hard to kind of get very far along. So you'll see here in a second, I put this all down for the night and picked it up again in the morning. And you'll see me hitting the corners of each of the pieces first to get rid of that really sharp corner, and then smoothing it out with the hand tool. Okay, so this next part is admittedly a slower version of something you've already seen, where I'm pasting the image onto the wood in preparation for cutting. But the whole purpose of this is to get a better cut of the face and hair, and I figured out that the best way to do this is to essentially layer the 2 pieces of wood onto each other and cut them simultaneously so that you get a perfect match with 2 different woods. On a separate note, you've made it about halfway through this video, and I just wanted to say thank you all so much for watching. If you could go ahead and do all of the YouTube things where you like and share and subscribe and comment down below, and yeah, all that stuff. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, let's keep going. Omari, figure it out, buddy. What's the matter? What's the matter? Okay, so that was a little snippet of what was maybe like 20 minutes worth of Omari going back and forth, very frustrated that he could not figure out the crayon tool in my notepad app on my iPad. He likes to use it to color while I'm working, but he kept accidentally erasing what he was doing. So he was very annoyed and I had to keep stopping. I am learning that this is just kind of the nature of working from home with a toddler. He definitely keeps things interesting. Okay, so here's hoping I did it right this time. Let's see if these pieces will fit together. I'm a little nervous because, I don't know, I kind of feel like I'm missing something, but we shall see, I guess. So, as you can see, I doubled up, oh, you can't see. I doubled up on the cuts for the poplar and the red oak, and then the face is of the red oak. I'm hoping that the poplar pieces will fit perfectly into the red oak pieces since I like doubled the cut. We shall see. I'm realizing now too that a part of the problem that I might have been having is that there's like the slightest bit of bow in both pieces of wood. So the pieces that didn't want to fit together before may have been because of that. But let's see if I fixed it. Over there. There. No, I did that one. This one. Here. Oh, I think that might be it. I think that's there's also this piece. Wait a minute. I'm missing something. Am I missing something important? I feel like I am. Easy away. Okay. So what I think might be missing, oh, no, I'm not missing anything. There's this chunk of hair here. And there's that piece there. Okay. Let's see if this fits. So this would go there. Oops, if there's not a piece of tape sticking out on the bottom. This is one of the pieces that I sanded, and of course it doesn't really want to go. Of course, because I cut that at a different time. I think that's the problem anyway. What about that? I think goes there. This goes like this. This piece would go in here, although I think I have one of that piece already. What am I gonna do about you? You don't want to go? It's like, no, I don't want to go. Oh, crap. Oh, I think I know. I did a little bit further out here. So maybe if I just shave this down, it'll fall into position to where it's supposed to be. We'll try that. Hey, get out of there. I think that what's keeping it from going into position perfectly is this area is just a little too wide. It needs to be shaved down. But I did that on purpose because I didn't want to over cut it and then leave a giant gap like there is now. We shall see if that ends up fitting. Let me find that other piece. I have these little ones that I have already shaved down. 13, 11, and I think goes there, and 12, let's see, and it should be in the redwood, yes. Will it fit? Haha. Just like that. And then once I cut this down so that it's correct, that should work in here. Should. Cross your fingers. That is 13. That should fit in here. Again, didn't cut it quite wide enough, so, or deep enough, so I might need to make some adjustments. I need a thin metal nail file, should do the trick to get into these itsy bitsy crevasses. And then this is a much easier fix than trying to fix all of these tiny edges, corners, and force them to fit together. I think I did it. Now once I sand these down, all of the face and hair will be done. I still need to cut out and sand some flowers. And while I wanted to have this painted by the end of the month, I don't even know if this even still qualifies as a spooky painting because I reduced a lot of the elements that I thought made it spooky, like all the spiders and spider web accents. For the simplicity of it, it was looking like I wanted it to feel a little crowded because she's in a poppy field, but it was getting a little too hectic and just over cluttered. So I reduced a lot of the elements just for the sake of simplicity and really readability. And I don't know if that makes it spooky anymore, but I wanted this to be kind of a spooky season painting. And it looks like I'll probably have to hold off on the painting until next month, judging by how fast this is going. But if I can get her fully assembled before I go on vacation, then I will consider that to be a win. So we shall see. So we're finally getting around to cutting the flowers and buds. You'll notice I left a little bit of extra space around the stems because I wasn't sure how fragile they would be while dealing with all the vibrations from the saw. So you'll notice there's a little bit of extra material here that I'll be carving down by hand later on. Now for the carving of the stems, I'll be using a precision knife or an X-Acto knife just to get kind of a general shape. I'll also be going in on some of them that are a little bit thicker with the Dremel tool because it takes out bigger chunks at a time. And so the little sanding block for to refine some of that shaved area. I will also be using the X-Acto knife to kind of carve in the lines that I'll be painting on later, but it's kind of the easiest way to transfer the line art that's going to be kind of on the face of each bud. I'll jump into some music here, as this next part is mostly just me shaping and whittling away at the stems. Okay, so we've come to the final assembly for this video anyway. I have decided that I want to put all the hair pieces together before painting and leave the face separate, so that way when I do paint the hair, the gray tones don't leach onto the brown skin. So we are whispering again because the baby is asleep, and I'm trying to finagle this headpiece into her bangs. She doesn't want rather to go. And the reason I'm trying to do that is this nice long piece, because probably it's so thin and the wood was not perfectly straight when I cut it. It's like slightly warped. It doesn't want to, I don't know if you can see that at all, but it's like slightly twisted, like it's doing this. So I'm trying to get this into place so that I can put this into place. And the plan is to get all the hair positioned where I want it. I went back and forth for a while on, do I glue the pieces down before I paint them or after I paint them? And I just decided it makes more sense for me to have all the pieces in position than paint. And so that I don't get any like cross contamination, because her face is going to be much darker than her hair. I'm going to glue her hair down, paint it, and then put her face in place after this is also painted separately. But in order to make sure all the hair is in place correctly, I need the face in position. So I'm dry fitting with no glue the face, but she is giving me issues. She like doesn't want to go in unless I force her, and I can't quite figure out where exactly the issue is. It's like a little bit too tight here, but also a little bit too tight here. Could be, no, that doesn't, like this spot right here is really tight. And I think I've been like sanding and fitting and sanding and refitting and sanding and refitting for a while now, so it kind of mostly got it. That probably seems like there was no issue at all, but I've been back and forth for a while now. So now that this is in place, where's that piece? Oh, this piece of her like sideburn slides into there, and this is like so tight that I'm not even gonna put glue there until I am maybe ready to glue the face down, because I don't see this shifting anywhere. Anyway, this goes here, but for whatever reason it doesn't want to fit now. It's probably that this piece is, I don't know, I probably glued something like a millimeter off somewhere, and now they're all fighting me, which is fine. I will make that fit. That's not a problem. Let's focus on this piece so that I can position this big piece. This piece needs to be here. And come on, because the wood really wants to twist it, like it keeps doing that. So that's another one that I've been like forcing into position. It's supposed to be like this, so that this has a nice snug fit. And everything should line up like pretty perfectly like that. So again, I think what I'm gonna have to do is maybe glue this down. Maybe I'll leave this like slightly unglued, or that's what I'll use that Gorilla Glue for, because I don't want to get any of the glue on here. I have to be very careful about how I glue this piece that attaches to her face. And then once it's been sitting there for a while, I'll probably be able to get this out pretty easily. And the neighbors are home. I don't know if you can hear any of that. They're kind of loud. But it is Saturday. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna give this a try. And of course I need to take all the tape off. Excuse me. Between my sneezing and the neighbors, pretty sure the kid's gonna wake up at some point. Anyway, I'm going to fast forward through taking off this tape and probably gluing this whole thing down, and we'll see what we Alrighty guys, after this I'm pretty much done with everything that I wanted to do kind of in this phase before painting. So this is actually where I'll leave you and say thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed this process. Like I said, I know this was kind of a long one, so I really appreciate you coming along with me for all of this cutting and shaping and just kind of figuring things out in real time. I will be continuing this one next month, so be sure to check out my Instagram page and my community tab here on YouTube for updates. Thank y'all again so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.